So you mentioned you do mention him in the book. I think you actually said he dominated Boyle Heights. What does that mean? Mickey Cohen dominated Boyle Heights.
So there was another group of gangsters, and it was by an Italian guy by the name of Dragna. I think it was Ernie Dragna, I'm not sure, or Joe Dragna. I'm sorry, Joe Dragna. Anyway, he controlled the Lincoln Heights area. You have Boyle Heights, you have Lincoln Heights. And the Lincoln Heights area was basically an Italian enclave, and it was run by Joe Dragna. And so he was always in clashing with Mickey Cohen, who was the Jewish gangster who ran Boyle Heights. As a result, Mickey Cohen won out. And in those days, the big thing was bookies, gambling. Off-track gambling was the big thing. And so it was very apparent that Mickey Cohen controlled Boyle Heights. He was the kingpin. In fact, there was a fighter by the name of Art Aragon. They called him the Golden Boy. And believe it or not, when we were living in the projects, our next-door neighbor was called Ruth Harris. She was married to the Harris family. Well, Art Aragon was her brother. And Art Aragon was the original Golden Boy. He used to fight out of the Olympic and fight out of Hollywood Legion Stadium. He was controlled by Mickey Cohen. Mickey Cohen was actually the guy that made the bets in those days as to whether or not Aragon was going to win by a knockout, decision, or lose.
So a lot of the gangster activity in that area was all about gambling and betting. Was there a little bit of prostitution maybe? I don't know.
It was prostitution. Okay, we didn't know them personally. We saw some really nice-looking women that were in Mickey's car. Mickey was also a player with in Hollywood. He had really good close relationships, I think, with George Raft. And then when Bugsy Siegel came out here from back east to be a Hollywood star, his connection to Hollywood was through Mickey Cohen, because he had a good connection with George Raft. So the thing was that with Mickey, he was in control of gambling 100%. All the off-track betting was done through Mickey Cohen, and prostitution to a degree. But that was basically what he was involved in.
Now, if you go to East LA, Boyle Heights today, there's still a synagogue on Breed Street that's like a remnant of the Jewish history there. I don't know if you're familiar with there's an old synagogue on Breed.
Oh yes, that was the original synagogue. My mother went to Roosevelt High School. She was a summer of '36. I have her yearbook. And Roosevelt High School was on Fickett Street. It was all Jewish. In 1936, it was 80% Jewish. In fact, they used to call it Jewsville instead of Roosevelt. So I'm very familiar with that. My wife, my ex-wife, she died, bless her heart. Her last name was Slav, Kitty Slav. Well, they were from Boyle Heights. So was the mother of my daughter, Tiffany. That last name was Leitner, and they had a cleaning shop in Boyle Heights on Brooklyn Avenue. So both my daughters are from Jewish mothers.
Now, when I was growing up in LA, I would go to Boyle Heights once in a while, but most of the Jewish businesses and people had already moved to the west side. But there was one remaining store on Brooklyn Avenue called Zellman's that was still there in the 1990s when I was a teenager. Yep. Do you remember that store, Zellman's?
Yeah, we used to pass by. Yeah, sure. And in fact, Canners, which is a big thing over in West Los Angeles, Canners used to be on Brooklyn Avenue. But they moved out, I think, about 1938, right around there. They moved Canners to West Los Angeles.
You know, the Cantor's Deli that's now on Fairfax.
It's on Fairfax now.
That was in Boyle Heights.
Boyle Heights,
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go. I was not born yet, but my mother used to go there with my father.
So when you were in elementary school in Boyle Heights, which school did you go to, and what was the ethnic breakdown of all your friends?
I went to Utah Street School, okay, in Boyle Heights. It was right off of First Street. And the breakdown was probably about half Jewish, and then the other half was between Latinos and blacks. Then we had a great migration of blacks moving into the area back in the 40s because of the defense plans. In fact, Elisa Village, with the projects that I grew up in, my neighbor was black. His name was Yvonne, and he used to play the trumpet. I remember that. But like I said, there was a breakdown, I would say probably about 50% Jewish, and then 25% Latino and 25 black.
Now, did you? I know you were young when you moved from Boyle Heights to Compton, but were you disappointed that you were moving because you're at the age where you're first establishing your friends, 8, 9 years old, you're making your friends, or did you look forward to the move when you moved to Compton?
I was terrified. I was terrified about it. I cried, and I told my dad, because my dad was working in L.A. He was working at the Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital at the time, and I told my dad, I'll get up at 5 in the morning if you just drop me off back at Utah Street School. I missed my friends. I missed my Kaplan brothers that were my buddies. I missed Don Davis, just to call him Diamond Head, because his head was shaped like a diamond. All those guys, I missed them because they were my buddies, and I had to make new friends. And you got to remember 136th and Central Avenue. You got to remember how that was then.
Yeah. So in your area, there weren't that many Italians because they were all in Lincoln Heights?
They were all in Lincoln Heights. In fact, the Ritigliano family, which later on I was partnered with their son, Dominic. Dominic was born in Niagara Falls, New York, and so his family from back east, they came out. But at that time, the landing, the landing zone for Italians in L.A. was Lincoln Heights. But there was that the separation, like the DMZ. You had the Boyle Heights with the Jews, and you had Lincoln Heights with the Italians. Both the Italians that I later on got in contact with, that I worked with, one of them was Ritigliano. Dominic was my partner, and Vito Tosselli, who I went to high school with, he owned the Golden Garter, which was the only strip bar in Compton.
And that's a place that you would frequent later on in life.
That's where I got my name.
And yeah, Rosecrans Riggs. Okay, so before we leave Boyle Heights, when you was a kid, other than Mickey Cohen, because Mickey Cohen was we say he's organized crime. He's big time gangster. But were you aware of any like street level gangs at the time? Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.